As soon as I put out the video on preparing children for school, I had a whole lot of parents email me about your concerns around the gaps in learning, because I had mentioned about gaps in learning. Let me make a couple of things very clear in this video and also talk about ways in which we can address these gaps in learning. As you all will agree, the online classes didn't do justice to learning, but that was the best option available to us for almost 18 months. We need to differentiate learning from testing. If you start trying to look for gaps in learning from the point of view of only testing, then there are a lot of challenges ahead. But when you look at learning, children are naturally geared to learning, and that's what we're going to try and understand in this video. The best way to reset learning in that sense is to go back to what is natural. When we say natural, what does that mean? 1, hands-on, gadget-free, screen-free. 2, it must involve exploration and curiosity. 3, it must be multisensory and involve a lot of imagination. And 4, most important, it must have a component of language. I'm going to introduce you to SMING, something that I've taught in my schools, in the schools I've set up and teachers I've trained. We start with sorting. Sorting at the level of the hands is putting objects into 2 or 3 categories based on a particular quality. At the level of the intellect, this is where categorization happens. So tomorrow if the child is learning about World War I or World War II, they know that these are facts or these are pieces of information that go with World War I, whereas these are pieces of information or facts that go with World War II. Let's say you have a basket of fruits and children are trying to sort. They're going to pick out banana and not banana. So whatever other fruits are which are not bananas are put in one category and the bananas taken in one category. In the second level of sorting, what children will do is take the bananas that they've sorted already and put them as raw and ripe and probably even overripe. Now these are all ways in which children start learning this, not this. Second level is this and that. And the third level is where within this they start looking for small qualities. This is how they start organizing information in their brain. The second skill, M, stands for matching. This is where children start putting 2 pieces of information that match. It can be at the object level, picture level, or at the word level. Initially, the matching will be very simple and then it moves on to more complex concepts. For example, the child is able to take a flashcard of a banana and match it with an object, or the flashcard with a word. In the higher classes, picking up one piece of information like a date or the name of a general and associating it with a particular country or the war that was fought is an act of matching. At the higher level skill, this is what we call association. The next skill is identification, and in identification, what needs to happen is children look at a couple of objects and they're able to identify this is banana. So at this point you could ask a question, which is the banana, and the child is able to point. In the higher classes, this will be where you have a lot of information that's present and the child picks out or identifies what is most relevant. Here recognition and recall are enhanced. The next skill, which unfortunately is the first skill that many schools and parents rush to, is naming, where we tell them this is a banana, or we start expecting them to know the names of many objects. Naming singularly holds up the flashcard culture. Unfortunately, without sorting, matching and identification, if we rush to naming, it leads to a lot of gaps in learning, which is what we've also seen during these online classes. But let me make it very clear to you through an example. When you rush to naming or just using flashcards, what you're actually doing is going out for dinner and then looking at the menu card and the picture that's printed there and experiencing the whole meal without eating it. I know it sounds absurd because eating is such a multi-sensory experience, and therefore you cannot just look at the menu card and the photograph and feel satisfied. Similarly, for learning, which is a multi-sensory experience, it does not make sense to just give flashcards and name it, or a picture book and name certain objects. We need to understand that for true learning to happen, multi-sensory learning with the sorting, matching, identification, moving to naming is very essential. When sorting, matching, identification and naming are strengthened through different experiences, children are naturally able to generalize that information across situations and are also able to internalize and assimilate that learning and lead it to application. Once generalization has taken place, children also naturally move into problem solving, seriation and sequencing, which means they're able to put it in order. For example, in the example of the banana that I was using, they will understand that the raw banana is the first phase, the ripe phase is the second, and the overripe and inedible phase is the third. Or it could be a story sequence, it could be a seriation of numbers, it could be events that are put in a chronological order when it comes to a war, and so on. The next skill is discussion, where the child is able to carry out a discussion based on different points of view or facts or opinions, and then this leads to spontaneous writing. What we need to understand is SMING is what we can introduce as parents and as teachers to ensure that the natural process of learning takes over in the brain, and this addresses and fixes all the gaps in learning. Though SMING is the most natural way of learning, for it to be most effective, children require hands-on play with objects in their environment. Second, a lot of movement involving the large muscle groups. Third, zero screen time, zero gadget time, because for SMING to be most effective, multisensory learning has to be enhanced. Remember that children learn naturally, and therefore it must be free and unstructured. SMING, if it is very structured and instructed, becomes very boring for children and they will try to avoid it as much as possible. While introducing SMING, make sure that children have opportunities for free play with other toys in their environment, because that's how the nervous system will compensate. I understand that I've introduced a completely new concept for many of you as educators and as parents, but please start with this and give it time. Build very slowly along with the child. Children may not go in this linear fashion of sorting, matching, identification, naming and generalization. They may choose what is most effective for them and what is most required for them. Just support them in this process and ensure that they overcome these gaps in learning. I hope this video was useful for you.